All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to today's guests. We have Cielo out in Hawaii. And I love talking to people out in Hawaii. It's always, I can feel the island vibes through the phone and or through the video conference. And one of my favorite places in the world for sure. And came across her Instagram page not too long ago and saw the vibe and energy that she was sharing with her audience, and I knew that we would have a fun conversation. So I reached out and she obliged, and that is what we're going to do today. Cielo is a spiritual teacher, intuitive empath, and just an awesome human all around. So excited to meet her and to talk with her. And without further ado from me, can you share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, and all that good stuff?
Absolutely. Aloha, everybody. It's still morning here in Hawaii. I'm known as the Island Intuitive on the island of Oahu. So I'm an intuitive empath, like you mentioned. So I see, feel, hear everything energy and people's emotions. I pick up on anything around me, basically. I see people's chakras. So anything energy related. I also do healing energy work where I could feel and palpate people's energy and their energy fields. I'm also a spiritual teacher. So I teach people about, their awakening and consciousness and all that amazing stuff that the universe is now going through this huge shift, and it's amazing to see. And I also am a life coach. So I help people kind of learn more about themselves from the aspect of relationships, maybe childhood, issues, their triggers and patterns. So that's pretty much what I do.
I love it. You're all in all, you're helping people to become more aware of who and what we all truly are. And I love that, helping people have to remember the things that all of us knew when we first came from non-physical and then to these human bodies. And some of us forget over the years, a lot of us forget over the years. And then the light bulb can come back on, and then life is really fun at that point, because now we get to actually choose how we want to show up in this moment, our energy right now, and then flow out whatever it is that we choose to flow out while we're here. I love that. For you, I'm always curious when you were, as far as the light bulb coming on for you, or sometimes I'll speak with people that, from the time they were children, they recognized they had some of these gifts, and they even had parents that encouraged them and didn't make them feel like they were weird or anything like that. And so those are always interesting examples. That isn't the most common. A lot of times for us, it happens at some point, in our journey, and then the light bulb comes on, and then it's really fun from there. How did it happen for you, Cielo, as far as your journey?
Yeah. So, growing up, I was always sensitive. I didn't know there was a word for that. I just knew that I was. I knew that everything made me cry. I was super sensitive to, things that were going on around me. I was always a shy child growing up. And I remember my dad telling me, when I was in my preteens, early teens, to try not to be so emotional and sensitive and try to be more practical about the way I view and deal in life. And I didn't know how to be anything else but other than who I was. And so I thought for a little bit that there was something wrong with me because I was so emotional about everything. Well, I didn't know at the time that I was picking up everybody's energy. And so a lot of what I was feeling and reacting to wasn't even my own energy. It was a combination of my own and everybody else's around me. But as I was growing up in high school, in my early adult life, I was always the friend or the family member that everybody gravitated towards for advice, for, a shoulder to lean on. I would always get that 3:00 in the morning phone calls. That's just who I was. And it wasn't until I went through my divorce, actually, in 2012, after almost 18 years of marriage. And it was my lowest point of my life. Just going through that transition and that pain, living alone here in Hawaii, not having a good support system. And I just really had to dig deep and relearn who I was, because I had lost myself for so long. And in that process of trying to find myself again, I found the truth of who I was. That's what I found, you know, in healing and going through the healing and the processing of the pain and the emotions and digging so deep, because when you're in pain and you're in rock bottom, you know, you're just searching for everything and anything to relieve you of that pain and to find answers to, you know, questions about life, why, and this and that. Because it wasn't just the divorce, but it was an accumulation of it was you know, it was, I just felt like I was drowning. It was one thing after another. It was, you know, it was finances, it was health, it was relationships, it was everything you could think of that was just kind of weighing down on me. And I felt like I just couldn't come up for air. And I just remember having those conversations with God of, I just need to come up for air. And I just take a breath. And it was a 4-year journey of really digging deep and searching, you know, all avenues, and learning and unlearning, and healing. And it was through that process. And I remember at the 4-year mark of going through this, and I thought to myself, like, man, when is this going to end? Like, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it was then that I realized that I was the light. I was the light all along. I was the light in the tunnel. And I get what I call God bumps, goosebumps, God bumps, as I'm talking to you about this. I don't get to verbalize it very often, right? I write about it. It's on my website, but I don't get to talk about it, and kind of reminisce and recall. So I just remember thinking to myself, gosh, there has got to be a reason why I am going through this. There's got to be. This can't all go to vain. Like, this suffering, this learning, this feeling like I can't come up for air, this just kind of ongoing, you know, transition after transition and pain after pain. And there's got to be a reason why I'm going through this. And slowly I started seeing why I was going through this. People were being brought into my life that were going through similar circumstances. And I realized that, you know, having gone through my difficulties and challenges, that was the roadmap. You know, it was like a map was being created, right? So that I could literally hand that off to somebody else who was going through. You know, we all go through something. It doesn't have to be the same thing. It doesn't have to be a divorce. It could be anything. Whatever that rock bottom is, whatever that shift is, whatever that is in our life that causes us to search and dig deeper. And I realized my life became a roadmap. It became that GPS, you know, for me to share with other people so that when they're on their journey, they have an understanding. Because I didn't have that, right? There was nobody in my family. There was nobody in my circle. I didn't have any, you know, immediate mentors and spiritual teachers. I didn't have that. It was like I learned and figured it out on my own. And in that process of healing and searching, and I met people along the way, you know, that obviously, you know, that were like-minded people. And it helped to make sense of everything that I was going through. And, you know, so that was in 2012. You know, we're now in 2020, almost 8 years ago. And back then, nobody was talking about, you know, as they are now on social media and whatnot, of, you know, the awakening and consciousness and all those things. It wasn't as prevalent and as acceptable and as understood as it is now. And in fact, I just got back on social media not even a year ago. I was off social media for about 6 years. So yeah, it's really exciting times. You know, when I do my work as an intuitive empath, and I go out there and I do different expos and events on island, and I meet people face to face. It's my absolute favorite thing, is to work with people face to face and get to know them. And it just amazes me, you know, the gift that God opened after I went through my healing, the reach, just the people that he's brought in my circle, and the work is just, I mean, it's not even, I don't even consider it work. It's my calling. It's my purpose. It always has been, you know. But like you said, it's very uncommon for like family members, right, to kind of guide you and have an understanding of what that is. I didn't have that. So I just kind of had to figure it out on my own. But in a way, I'm kind of thankful for that experience of not knowing what the heck I was doing or where to go or who to talk to, and trying to figure it out on my own. Um, so, so yeah, as I went through that awakening, I searched, I found, I learned, I unlearned. I grew, I hurt, I evolved, I transcended, all those things, all to help others go through the same thing.
I love it. I love how you shared all of that. And you inspired me to say many things. I'm going to share 3 things that you inspired me throughout what you just shared that will definitely impact and benefit the audience, because I love how you mentioned that all of us, and I never say all, but probably most of us, almost all of us, if not all of us, have gone through something in our lives that we would call, very challenging in the time of life, where maybe maybe you would consider it a rock bottom. Maybe you would just consider it a really rough time, whatever that time is for you out there listening. If you've experienced that, like Cielo experienced it, I experienced it this way as well, where I was just open for some answers to come and was asking, God, the universe, all that is, how can I, have this lifestyle? How could I live life the way that I've always wanted to live? And didn't realize at that moment for me that my greatest weakness was I was one of the people that was saying, I'll be happy when I have the life that I want to have. And I didn't understand that that was not possible to even attract the life that I wanted from that frequency, from that energy. And at the same time, the only moment promised to any of us is right here and now. And I was there were so many moments of now that were thrown off because of thinking about the future and not appreciating, the present, and not understanding the power of that. And so that was the answer that I needed. It took rock bottom and just being, in a real big depression, over a decade ago, to attract a book. I attracted The Power of Now in a place that I moved into, had a bunch of roommates in LA. And the only thing left in the whole house was in the garage, in the corner of the garage. There were like 5 spiritual books, like in the corner of the garage. And it made me respect all the books, because I had heard of a few of them. But I hadn't read, then I saw The Power of Now, and then Eckhart Tolle's other book, A New Earth, next to each other. And so I read both of them back to back, and it just like completely shifted the way I looked at life. And it wasn't like all like roses and like fairy tales and unicorns and like rainbows from there. There were still lots of challenges, because, at that point in my life, I had lived 25 years or so of not focusing on the present, thinking about, the future a lot more. And so that was, one thing that I can definitely relate to. And if anybody out there, maybe you're experiencing a challenging time right now or have, I just take a lot of peace and excitement knowing that any question that we have for God, for the universe, for all that is, spirit, source energy, whatever you want to call it, we'll receive the answer when we're in the energy and the frequency where we're able to receive it. So if we're trusting and we're excited for the answer to come, not needing to know how it's going to come, when it's going to come, where it's going to be, it could happen a lot. You can get a lot of your answers from life experience. Like it sounds like Cielo got a lot of her answers from life experience and experiencing some contrasting things, some parts of life she liked, some parts of life she didn't like. We get a lot of clarity from that out there. It's a really great teacher for all of us. You could attract a book, you could attract YouTube videos. I mean, there's so many different ways. We don't have to figure that out. But I always just like giving comfort to anyone out there, knowing that any powerful question that we have, and do your best to ask questions that are empowering questions. Like, how can I, and ask about where you want to go, not where you are or where you've been. Because a lot of times people will ask disempowering questions too, which won't allow you to receive the same information. So that's the first thing that you inspire me, because just being open to receiving information. And then you mentioned that you realized when you kind of went through the tunnel that you are the light. And I love that so much, because that's the light bulb moment for all of us when we realize that, we are, the light, which is representative of God, of the universe, of all it is, of love, of source energy, is flowing to and through and is who truly all of us are, when we're actually allowing ourselves to be connected with it, which is just in the form of energy. So whenever we're feeling, an energy of love, of peace, of content, of happy, of joy, anytime we're feeling anything where we feel good, like we're connected, we can experience really awesome synchronicities, cool ideas, like so many awesome things like happen when we're connected with that frequency, when we're being the light, when we're being who and what we truly are. And in the moments where we're not being the light, then, we're vulnerable for lots of synchronicities that maybe we don't like so much, some maybe physical illness or, accident or, just lots of challenge and struggle, which is a part of the human experience, not a terrible thing. It's just going to give us more life experience, more clarity and all that as well. And I just love the realization that for me, when I describe the light bulb moment, it's when we realize that we are this energy, call it God, universe, source. We're different reflections of it here, living a physical experience, but that non-physical energy is flowing to and through and is who all of us are. And last thing that you inspired me out of the many things that you did when you just said that, is just the fact that now you realize that you experienced all of that because now your life has become a roadmap for others, which is awesome. For anybody out there, if you want to help anyone with anything, the absolute best way to do it is by your example. Like, let people see you be the light. Let people see you be healthy if you want to help people be healthy. Let people see you be happy if you want to help people be happy. And then, if you're inspiring people, they might want to know, what do you know, Cielo? What do you know, Noel? Like, and then we get to share with them the things that we become aware of. But, just words are awesome. Like, the information is awesome. But really, if we're, it's like if your parents out there, if you're telling your kids to live a certain way and do a certain thing, but then they're watching, you're like, Mom, Dad, you don't really live that way. Like, that's not going to connect. You're not going to be as impactful for anybody that is watching you. So those are the things that you've inspired me so far.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Yeah, I think, just the realization of we are spiritual beings in this physical body. And, we're going to go through some stuff in life. We are. And it is coming to that realization of we are so much more empowered than we feel and that we understand or think. And just to align ourselves with that truth and really just expect those doors to open, expect that path to clear, expect expectancy, right? And not lose hope in that and really keeping your faith. So I love that.
Absolutely. And Cielo, you know this, and everybody out there, I want everybody to know this, that anytime you see someone else, an example of another human being doing anything that you're like, wow, that's awesome. That's awesome how, Cielo had this really challenging life experiences and has been able to become aware of the things that she's become aware of and now helping people like she's helping people. Anytime you admire any quality or something that another human being out there has done or is being, more importantly, that's you. That's just a reflection of you. So you're seeing something in them that is really a reflection of you. So you can be like, I want to live that way as well. And again, the same non-physical energy is what is allowing Cielo to live this way. It's what's keeping her heart beating. It's what's allowing the thoughts that are popping into her brain and the words coming out of her mouth. And the same for all of us out there. So I root for humanity so much because I get excited when people are living the way that they want to be living. If you see that they're living in passion or living in joy. And I'm just like, ooh, that's inspiring me. I want to live even more that way as well. So I love it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. So question for you, because now we're at the beginning of 2020 and we're already through the first. Oh my gosh, it's already February.
It's already February. What is going on?
Just realized this. February 1st, we're recording this out there.
Oh my goodness.
What are you excited about this year, 2020, that you have going on, or anything that, that you're like, ooh, this is going to be a year of this or that? What's going on in your world?
I am very excited, actually. There's a lot that, God has put into my heart of, different things, different ways in which I could help people through their healing process. In fact, I'll be launching my very first product here in just a couple of weeks, actually. And, in meeting with clients, the number one thing that I'm hearing clients tell me is that they either don't have a regular spiritual practice of meditation, they can't find time, or they don't know how, or different things. And I used to always share with my clients like the time that I would use. I don't spend an hour in the morning or an hour in the evening meditating. Like that's not what I do. And I was talking to them about how I would use my time in the shower to allow that water to flow down my body, cleanse me, cleanse off anything that doesn't serve me, and allow that energy, those thoughts, those feelings to go down the drain. And so I've been sharing this with clients, and they had talked about how, this has been working for them because they didn't have to carve out additional time. It was something that they did every day, every other day, right? It was simple. So God put it in my heart to create, a special practice. So I'm launching a spiritual soap for conscious cleansing. Is basically what it is. And there's a promo video that's going to come out in a couple of weeks, but just to give the listeners an idea, from the design of the soap to the ingredients of the soap, everything's very natural. And it's got a lot of powerful energy channeled into the soap. There's gemstones that are involved in the creation of the soap. And it has been, I did kind of a trial with some of my clients before I launched it, and of course my own use. And it has been absolutely amazing, and has been part of their spiritual practice. So I'm so excited about that. And I'm going to be launching that here in about a week or two. And having somebody create my video for me and explain kind of the thought process behind its creation and all that. So I'm super excited about that because I know that it's just going to be another tool, another tool to help people on their journey, a powerful one. And also I'm going to be, and I've been talking about this for a couple of years now, but timing's always perfect, right? It's never late or early. It is what it is. But I am in the midst of creating some online courses that I'm going to be launching this year. I've been talking about this, like I said, for a while now. I've done a few workshops locally and whatnot, but the thought of doing online classes has been in my heart for a while. And I really had to sit and pray about what it is that what information people need right now. What is it in the universe that needs to be? Because there's so much out there, right? But, we all have something unique to share. And so I let that kind of sit in my heart, and I finally got more clarity and direction on what that is. And so I'm going to be working on that as well. So I'm really excited, trying to also travel more and do different expos in the mainland, because we're a small island here in Hawaii, and I want to travel to different parts of the mainland to attend different expos, meet different people, and further my reach. So that's pretty much what I got going on for 2020. And yeah, February 1st, oh my gosh, like just realizing that we're already in the second month, I'm like, oh my gosh, where did time go? Did we just celebrate Christmas and New Year? What's going on?
I know. I love it. I love what you just shared. And that's awesome. Anytime someone, and I've never heard of, it's really amazing how you're combining a product that is beneficial, but then also giving the spiritual practice with it is going to be so life-changing for many, many people. And I love also because I've had a few guests talk about doing their meditation while they're in the shower, which I think is awesome. And I love how you illustrated just letting the parts that whether it be thoughts or feelings that you didn't want to be able to wash down the drain. I love that. And just to be cleansed. And I also love that most of the time people shower in the morning. So, because I'm very pro, like I don't meditate for an hour ever really. I could if I wanted to, but the reason that I meditate is because I am doing it with the purpose of being able to feel as good as I can, to be connected. I just want to connect. So sometimes that feels like peace or calm. Sometimes that feels like really excitement or joy. And, you know, sometimes my meditation will merge right into an awesome visualization, which I just let it
Mm-hmm.
roll there. And those are the times normally where, and I've actually been purposely doing that a lot more lately, because those are the times where I'll like go past peace and calm and like go up towards bliss, thinking about things that I'm excited about. But I love that anything that we can do to help people create a meditation practice, and, you know, or even just a practice of getting their vibration, getting their frequency to at least a peace, to be at calm, you know, and, you know, as early in the day as possible versus, you know, oh my gosh, it's going to be such a long day and I got so many things to do. And there's just, like that feeling is, it's a rough feeling to start the day with. And it's a very good chance that momentum can carry you to where you have that anxious, frustrated, worried, you know, feeling all day. And that's just not a fun day for any of us. It's not going to be, that definitely won't be your most fun day for any of us. And we've all been there.
Yes,
So I love that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love that you're giving people that. I can sense that you have inspired to say something. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, because, you know, like I said, we're spiritual beings in human form, and, you know, most of the time have this tendency to, like, you know, we function with the ego, right? We have to kind of be aware and put ourselves in check of, you know, how are we viewing the situation? How are we reacting to the situation? How are we maneuvering through life? And as human beings, a lot of times that first initial reaction will be ego or our human reaction. And sometimes when we're going through stuff, you know, we get lost in that of trying to figure it out on our own, right? Trying to solve this problem on our own and trying to do things on our own. And what I like about the practice is that it allows people to go back to that space. Even if it's a 5-minute shower in the morning, it's a reminder of this connection. I'm getting God bumps as I tell you that. It's a reminder of that connection. It's an opportunity to connect, like you said, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes of that realization of, I am part of something greater than my skin and bones and my thoughts, right? And if you shower first thing in the morning, I think it works great both ways, right? Like you said, first thing in the morning, you kind of set your day, you kind of set the tone, but also it's great for the end of the day when you have had a hard day and you've picked up all this energy, especially if you're energy sensitive, and to kind of, you know, cleanse yourself before you rest for the night. So yeah, that's why I love it. And I'm so excited about it.
I love it. I love it too. And I love one thing that you said there that I'm going to make sure I highlight for the audience when it comes to, and I don't know if I've talked about this that much on the podcast, but it's very, very important for all of us when we're trying to figure stuff out. And when you said we're trying to figure it out on our own, what Cielo is meaning by that is when we're not allowing ourselves to be connected, you know, to who and what we truly are. You know, if we find ourselves frustrated or worried or anxious or pessimistic or angry or upset or anything that just doesn't feel good, then in those moments we're never fully disconnected, because that's who and what we truly are. But at the same time, we're not connected with it in this moment, where if we're trying to figure out life, it's a question to life in those moments, you truly are on your own. Like, it's like, because if you're frustrated or you're worried or anxious, like, what are the thoughts that are going to come into your mind? They're going to be frustrated, worried, anxious thoughts. The words that you're speaking, if you ever are, you know, if it's a blind spot, it's where it's like, is this my ego involved or is this me being connected? If you can't feel it, which most of us can feel it, just listen to what you're saying. If you start hearing yourself saying anything critical of yourself or others or blaming or judging, just know in that moment that is, you are out in this world, like solo. Like, if you're trying to figure stuff out, stop it. Like, for me, if I notice myself, and this is just present moment awareness, and this makes it much easier because we don't have to think. Like, How have I been all day today? Doesn't matter. What am I being right now is the only thing I can control of. What am I going to be tomorrow? Doesn't matter. When you get there, it'll still be right now in the present. So knowing that the only moment that I have control over or that it matters at all is right here, the eternal moment of now. I don't have to think about all this extra stuff, so I can be honest with ourselves. And I love how one of my guests one time said, instead of calling it self-awareness, they could just call it self-honesty. Because if we could just be honest with ourselves and just know, what is my present moment state of being, then we have a choice. And that's all I care about for anyone. I'm not telling anybody out there what to choose. If you find yourself present moment being frustrated or worried and you just choose to keep going down that path, go for it. I mean, what it's going to do is going to produce some more life experience in that frustrated, worried space, which might not be so pleasant. You're going to maybe some experiences that you might not want to experience as much, but you'll get more life experience and clarity. And then you can decide that, I don't really like living life in this frustrated, worried space. Let me try this, like being at peace and just letting go and allowing God to help us, with the journey versus me trying to figure out all this out on my own. That is a rough space to be. Like, if I notice myself being anything other than, at least at calm or peace, my only intention on the planet, the only thing that matters to me in the world is allowing myself to return to calm and peace so I can be connected. Like, I don't care anything else that's going on. Like, nothing else matters at that point to me, because I don't enjoy the thoughts or the words or the actions that I'm taking if I'm not taking it with the being who and what I truly am. When we can get to that point, I mean, you're just way more powerful, way more effective, way more fun to be around. You enjoy being around yourself more. Like I say, if you're not connected, don't talk to anyone. Don't even talk to yourself. just allow yourself to reconnect. Maybe go to sleep. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
For sure. Well, that's great. Everybody out there, make sure you connect with Cielo on social media now that she's back. That was a nice hiatus, which allowed you, I'm sure, for a personal growth and personal awareness, not being distracted by social media is awesome to be able to connect. And it can also be very challenging when we're trying to figure out life and we're not aware of all this stuff yet. I notice a lot of people, comparing like their life experience with others, and comparison is just, I've heard it said, it could be the killer of joy very easily.
Absolutely. And after having had taken that hiatus for so long, and the reason why I got off of it at the time was because, I am so sensitive, and, watching the news, even like I had pulled back because I'm so sensitive that just, reading my feed and the energy of people, going back and forth and bickering, I just didn't want to be a part of that. And I just wanted to get off, and I did, and didn't plan it. I didn't know how long it was going to be for. And it was, I don't know, I think it was about 6 years. But now that I am back on it, I'm realizing a lot of things that, like you said, it's a whole nother world, right? It's a whole nother world, and people can get caught up in, their life is better than mine. They're progressing farther than I am. I wish I had their life. And it's, it can be very detrimental to a lot of people. And even those that have the awareness and have, that foresight and the work that they've done, we're all human. At any given day, we're all human. And if you're having, an off day or whatnot, just something somebody says, something that you see on social media can affect you. And I think it's really interesting that people now have to make an announcement that they're going to take a break from social media, because it's kind of like when you have an account, you'll see a lot of people saying like, I'm going to be like off the grid, I'm taking a break or whatnot. And to have to make that announcement that, that we're intentionally doing that. I think it's really interesting, because what I've noticed even in my own postings, right? Depending on what I post, if I'm posting even a 1-minute video of me talking on a subject, and it's me talking the whole time, I'll have fewer views than if I posted a 15-second video with captions and was just like quick information. And I feel like, you know, in this day and age where we are so busy and so bombarded with so much external stimuli, and we feel like, you know, we only have a limited amount of time for this and a limited attention span, right? Especially with the young kids. Like, what are all the young kids doing? They're constantly like this. Even some of the adults, right? On their phone. And they're always connected to that energy, right? That's where they're connected. And you can get lost in that energy of flipping through and, you know, what everybody's doing and everybody's stories and everybody's posts. And so it could be a what is they curse and evil. What is it they call it? A curse.
Gift and a curse.
A gift and a curse, right? It could be that. And it's really just, it's so important because there are people that are struggling already, that are going through their healing, that are in the process of their growth. And it can be detrimental to a lot of people in that, you know, who are in that space. So I think we do have to be careful where we choose to give our energy, where we choose to share our energy, who we choose to share it with. And I think it's really important that we do take that time for ourselves every day. Every day we need to pull back, recenter, remind ourselves who we are, because it's real easy to get lost. Very easy to get lost. You know, like I said, I've only been back since like May of last year, I think. And I found myself getting caught up in that, you know, that energy of, you know, I got to do a post and I got to do this and I got to do that. And I just had to remind myself, like, you know, God gave each of us a gift to share and to, you know, put out there for people in the world, you know, your purpose. And that's, you know, people are going to find you where they need to find you, right? Like for me, social media is not my huge, you know, that's not my huge thing that I do, right? It's when I'm out there doing these expos and whatnot, and I'm doing other things, that's where I'm really connecting with people, you know? And so, yes, am I building up my social media? Absolutely, because I want to help more people. I think it's important, but I think, you know, we have to put it into perspective and the big scheme of things, right? And for our own self-care and for our own well-being, that we have to put that into perspective, because it's real easy to get lost. And there's many different channels, right? It's not just Instagram. There's TikTok, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's YouTube. It could be very overwhelming, you know? So I think, you know, for me, I really just trust, you know, as an intuitive, I try to recenter and I just trust what it is that God is putting in my heart to do, and how to do it. And, you know, remind myself of the very thing that we all struggle with, of comparison and, you know, things that you want to accomplish. Like I said, if I allowed my human self to dwell on the fact that, oh, Cielo, you've been talking about doing these online classes for 2 years or whatever it is, you know, and my headspace was there for a while. I'm like, you know, being back on social media, I'm like, oh my goodness, like everybody's doing this, everybody's teaching this class and that class, and oh my gosh, Cielo, you know, you were supposed to do that a long time ago. And I had to stop myself in my tracks. I did, and remind myself, you know what, everybody has their own gift to share, right? And that's true when I'm at these expos, and there might be 30 people there that are doing the same exact work. And I know that if I see 50 people that day, those were the 50 people that needed something that I had, you know, that God was going to channel through me. And I trust that, and I know that. And so there is no comparing, there is no anything other than just being and being that channel, being that, you know, conduit, whatever it is that God calls you to do, just trusting whatever that is, you know, and not comparing your path to anybody else's, because everybody's path is different.
I love that. Everything that you say, Cielo, it is inspiring me so much. And I'm going to share something now that I've never shared before that is going to help people when it comes to social media. Because it's just, so first and foremost, like when I post on social media, it's knowing what you just described as far as all of us, because we all have the same non-physical energy flowing to and through us. And when we're allowing ourselves to be it, and at the same time, we've all lived different life experiences. So we're flowing it through our own physical experience. And so just like you mentioned, if we're sharing anything, then it's going to be unique because no one's lived our life experience. And the people that can be impacted by it will be attracted to that frequency that we shared it in. And like you mentioned, when you're at these expos, the 50 people that you see, or however many people, are the ones that are meant to be attracted to the frequency that you're in. And you guys got to spend some life experience together in that energy. So for all of us, when we're experiencing social media, is a great example. Say someone posts something and they're posting in a frustrated or upset place. That's where their frequency is. Not saying they're right or wrong for it. That's just where they posted that energy. So that frequency is there. Say I'm coming and I'm excited for life. Like I'm just enjoying the day. Now, if I see that, one or two things are going to happen. I'm either going to say that's not resonating with me. I'm excited to live this joyous, happy day. So I'm just going to click past it. What also can happen is you can allow yourself to start. That's why I don't watch the news, because it just challenges our vibration. Because now it's like I could also go to that post and feel that frustrated, angry energy and start to actually internalize it. And now my frequency is dropping the more I pay attention and flow energy at that, because energies are going to join each other. And, the longer that you put any type of attention on that frequency. So, that's why if you ever walk into a room and, you found yourself really excited, you're going to attract the people that are excited. The people that are not feeling so excited, they might, when people say, what are you so happy about all the time? Like they're not going to want to interact with you in those moments, and vice versa. Or what you could do also, you can walk into a room and you're excited and someone might not be feeling their best. And you can be like, why are you always raining on my parade? Why are you always dimming the vibe? Now you're actually just blaming them. So now you're joining them in that frequency. So it's just very good to know about these energies. Here's the one thing that I do know, because I've seen myself do this many times, like just throughout my social media journey, depending on, because how you're feeling how you're responding to a social media post is a great indicator for all of us on what our present moment right now frequency is. And I've got many reminders. If I see somebody and this has happened many times in the past, if I see somebody like really enjoying life, like doing things that, I'm like, I really want to do that. If I'm anything other than like really happy for them or really excited to experience or inspired by that, if I'm like jealous or like envious of that, it's a great indicator of where my frequency is right now. Because when we're connected, like when we're connected with love, when we're connected with God, we can only be that towards things that are like really like loving, posts. Like we're just going to be happy for them and be really excited for us to experience that too. Be grateful that we saw that, because wow, I didn't even know that place existed. And now I'm super excited to experience that when the timing is right. And so that's a really amazing indicator. And, so we can use it as such. And it's okay also to give yourself permission to not challenge yourself. If you've had a challenge as far as comparison, give yourself permission to take a break if you need to. Like, again, there's no special bonus points or rewards for being able to watch something like the news, for instance, where it's just like, they're talking about war, and they're talking about, there's lots of things that are just like challenging for any of our vibration. Talking about like illnesses and disease and outbreaks. Like, I don't want to challenge myself to where it's like, I wonder, can I watch the most like difficult thing to watch and still feel good? Like that's almost impossible. Like I just choose not to experience that. Like we can understand what's going on in the world without having to go to like the news as a source. Like somebody will talk about it on their Facebook and I'll see it. I'm like, okay, that's going on in the world. I'm still not giving a lot of attention to that unless it's something that I'm inspired, because we all live different life experiences. So sometimes if somebody might post something and you might be inspired to say, what would I like to see for the world? What would I like to see in this area of life? Like maybe maybe they're showing like an area of the world where there's no schools right now, or like education is like lacking. And maybe you might have the desire in that moment to create schools in impoverished areas. Awesome. Like now you have that desire. So now you don't have to know how it's going to happen, when, like all the details that you need. But that is probably in alignment with part of your life purpose here, if it feels really strong to you. And that's why there's 7.7 billion of us, because we're all going to have different, life paths or things that feel strongly to us. So I love that you said that, because yeah, social media can be and the most important thing that I'll say out of all this, without for any of us, and this is why any of you guys listening to this podcast and hearing Cielo speak and, you know, all these different episodes that we've had, it's the light bulbs have been coming on constantly, and you're having present moment awareness of how you're being, your present moment right now state of being. And am I connected right now? Am I not? I'm not making myself wrong if I'm not, because you can't be making yourself wrong and be returning back to God, returning back to love at the same time. So if you're blaming or condemning, then just know that that's your life experience right now, not right or wrong, but that's just how you're being in this moment.
Right.
And so for any of us, when we're not allowing ourselves to be connected, life is just going to be a roller coaster, and just experience. And a lot of people experience it that way. That's why I do what I do, because I want to help more people have the awareness. Because if we don't have the awareness, then here's what's going to typically happen. And here's how people are trying to allow themselves to feel good. They're trying to manipulate the external. Everything. That's why people are swiping so much on social media and doing all these things, because they're looking for dopamine hits to feel good. And a lot of people are like reaching out for like comedy and entertainment. They're trying to like make themselves laugh and like see funny things or entertaining things, because they're trying to manipulate the external to feel good. But that's like such a temporary. And then they flip on something else where it's like something that's tough to see, and now their energy goes down. And now it's just, life is just a up and down roller coaster. And I've been here, and there's a reason why I want to help people like be able to focus on the internal energy, and then we can reflect that into the external, because that's what's happening anyway. It's just a matter of whether we're aware of it or not, so that we can purposely, consciously do it. So
absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. You've inspired so much out of me this episode.
Oh, you've inspired me. I love it. Thank you.
I love it. Well, the last question I have for you, unless others pop up, but what I'm curious from you, and just anything that flows out, any area of life, whatever you feel would be something that, no matter, because what I love about the internet most is that it just lives forever. Like, I don't think there's going to be a time in our lifetime, at least, where there won't be any internet. I don't think it's going backwards. I think it's just evolving. So it's awesome that, 20 years from now, someone could come across this episode, and it could be just exactly, and if they're attracted to it, it would be exactly what is purposely for them in that moment, and it'd be awesome. So anything that you want to share with anyone attracted to this episode, whether it be right when it's released or 20 years from now, that you feel would benefit them. You've been doing it the whole time, but anything that pours out of you.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, what a profound question, right? It's like, to answer that one question with one thing. I would probably say just, we are all on this journey. We are all on this spiritual and physical journey called life. And it's true, like it is a classroom. We are being tested, we're learning lessons, we're repeating grades and lessons. We are people in circumstances. Our life is a reflection. It's a mirror to us and to the truth of who we are. People, especially relationships, will bring out the very thing, will act as the biggest mirror to reflect back of all the things that you need to heal, to return back to self, to wholeness, right? We are whole. It's all about unlearning all this stuff that we picked up along the way, traumas, growing up, and our inner child wounds. It's about healing. It's about evolving. It's about transcending. And if we are willing to look into that mirror and allow it to reflect, and that's really hard. The reason why these people and circumstances are put into your life is because, a lot of us don't just, we're not just born with this natural insight and to look into our own stuff, right? Not until it's reflected back to us. And here's the kicker, is that we always think it's about that other person, right? Whether it's a relationship, it's like, well, he doesn't do this or she doesn't do that or this circumstance or whatever. But if you would take whatever that is and turn it back to yourself and your reactions and your feelings and your views and your beliefs and question it. Don't question that other person. Question yourself. Why do I feel this way? What emotion is it bringing up? What hurt is this, right? So I always tell clients, if something is getting a rise out of your emotion, whether that's a relationship or if something is given rise to your emotion, in a way that brings up, those emotions of fear and jealousy and hate and anger and whatnot, dig deeper into yourself, because there's more to it than what that surface shows. It's not about what that person's doing or saying. It's something much deeper within ourselves. So if we can realize that we're on this journey, to learn more about ourselves, heal ourselves, help others on their journey, reflect love back to others. And, I think the other thing is to not be afraid to make decisions. In my opinion, with the exception of, killing somebody or hurting somebody or, something like that, capital murder or whatever, I don't like to look at decisions as right or wrong. They're just decisions. And each decision is going to take you down a different path. And each path is going to take you down different lessons to learn. So it's okay. Don't be afraid to make that decision. Don't be afraid, should I or shouldn't I take that new job? Should I or shouldn't I move? Should I or shouldn't I break up with this person? Whatever decision you make after spending some time connecting to your higher self and, releasing things that don't belong to you and stepping away from your ego and your inner wounds and all that. When you take the time to do that, and you feel pulled towards a decision, just do it. It's okay. It's really okay. Don't be afraid to step forward and to make decisions in life. And don't resist life. Flow with life. Everything has a frequency and an energy and a flow, and just flow with it. No matter what you're going through, right? Seasons, reasons, all that stuff. I think that was more than one thing. I think that was like 5 things.
And in fact, I'm going to encourage the audience, rewind and listen to Cielo's whole last section again. That part, listen to it again. You just said so many, like what you just described as far as decision making is like, that's my biggest, like, I'm so encouraging of just life experience and just choosing to go live life because of the lessons, the clarity that we're receiving each and every time, beyond like, going out and like, I mean, even if you go out and like choose to like murder someone, which most of us, like 99.99999% of us would not have that be a choice, but just know that you put out that energy, then what comes back is either loss of life or loss of freedom. Like if you go out and like decide to like body slam someone, like that's going to bring out either loss of, hurt to yourself or loss of freedom. So it's just like every choice is like all good, but just be aware of it. And just know that every choice is going to give you new life experience. And depending on how we're choosing, and I love what you said, because if someone got back to in tune with self, then they wouldn't go out and like murder someone. So
sure.
you prefaced it with that, which is awesome as far as, because that's, if we're making decisions from a disconnected place, you can pretty much put money in the bank that those are going to be challenging experiences. It's just, if you're deciding to make a phone call that's important, like maybe you want to call your significant other and you're already feeling frustrated and anxious about, you've been angry with them. You're like, I'm going to call this person. You're like dialing numbers, like beating a hole in your phone. That conversation is not going to go well. It's just not possible for it. I mean, the energy you're putting out, they're reflection of you. Like you're blaming them for all this stuff, but really you're just seeing the pain that you have going on inside of you. I mean, when you're pointing at them. So Cielo just said so many beautiful things right there. And rewind and listen to that part again. I won't even, there's nothing else for me to say when it comes to that. I love everything you just said. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Noel.
Yes, this has been a really, really awesome conversation. And I'm excited for everybody out there to not only be hearing this, but also definitely share this. Make sure you connect with Cielo on social media. All her links are here. You guys will see them. And definitely share that you can impact someone for sure, because I love how you started it, just highlighting the life experience and the challenges and having to go through, what for some out there, I mean, you might think that, it's been like just 2020 has been rough maybe for you so far. And, Cielo just described like 4 years of like going through like, ups and downs and trials and tribulations before she realized she was the light. So now for all you listening to this episode, regardless of what life has been like for you, you just heard like a really, really amazing universal truth for us all, that all of us are the light. And if you can really just grab a hold of just that, life totally changes immediately. And just have fun, do whatever feels most inspiring. And when I say inspiring versus motivated, I say inspire, which is inspire in spirit. So that means we're connected. So anything that I'm ever inspired to do from that place, because I know it's not my ego, I know I'm connected. Awesome decision. Just do it. There's life experience.
I love that.
Yeah. So awesome conversation. I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing this time. And I'm excited for people to hear this when this releases officially.
Oh, no, well, thank you. I can't thank you enough for letting me be a guest and for all the love and the light that you shine out to everybody. I mean, before I even talked to you, right, I could feel your energy. So you're a wonderful light, and thank you for all that you do for the community.
Likewise. And it's a conversation I would have wanted to have with you anyway. And it just, now I've become kind of like a recording snob, where I want to record it so I can share it. Like just a conversation that benefits me and you. And, obviously we're putting out amazing energy out into the world anytime we have an awesome conversation with someone. I just love that we live in 2020 and beyond, that we can record this and share this and people can be impacted by it. It makes it so much fun to have these. So
absolutely.
Yeah, this is what I didn't mention. Last thing I'll mention when it comes to social media. The reason why I post anything is because, one, this conversation is really fun. So stuff like this, or if I'm sharing a video, a 1-minute video or whatever it is, it feels really good to share those things. And even if one person is impacted by it, which I know that someone that'll be exactly what they need to hear and feel in that moment, it's just awesome. Because it feels good anyways for us to share. And to hear these things coming through us, like great reminders for us too, like we're all human. So if I'm saying something, that's like great reminder for me too. So I'll continue doing that as long as I'm here, for sure, because it feels good, it's fun, and we're all in this together. So
absolutely,
I love it. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Definitely share this and rate and review and subscribe if you're not already. Make it easier for people to find these beautiful episodes, and I'll keep talking to awesome humans like Cielo and sharing the love and light with all you guys. Even though it's February now, I'm still saying Happy New Year. I don't really want to stop saying it. I enjoy saying it. So I'm going to keep saying it for now. And appreciate you guys sending love and light to you all whenever you're hearing this. Have an amazing day, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Yes, aloha.
Aloha. I love it. So much fun, Cielo. That was awesome conversation.
Thank you.